Hello everyone, hope you guys are having a great day. It is April 27th, and today I'm back with a video. Today I'm going to be talking about today's start of a new severe weather event. Today we do have two slight risks. We have one in northwestern Kansas, northeastern Colorado. We can see that right there. And we have this other, we have our second one. It's a very large slight risk. It goes from southern Kansas down to southern Texas. We have two 5% tours, 15% wind, and a 15 sig hail threat. Then tomorrow, it looks like the severe weather threat is going to continue. We have a very large marginal risk that extends all the way from New York down to southern Texas. We have a slight risk in areas of Oklahoma and Texas along the dry line. 15% wind, 15 sig hail, and two 5% tours once again. And then on day 3, this is Thursday now, we have a marginal risk that goes from southwestern PA down into northern Kentucky. So pretty. I mean, I wouldn't say it's an active next couple of days, but it does look like today and Wednesday is going to be pretty active. So let's go ahead and start off by talking about this northern slight risk, because this northern slight risk looks very interesting. This is along our actual this slight risk to the south is along our dry line. This one is associated with the cold front. So yeah, now let's go to this afternoon, and this is 19Z. You can see I have a little bit of a warm sector right here, or I mean, dews are in the 40s. Not a lot of moisture, but it's kind of supportive. And we do have some 50 dews in this area, and over here we have our dry line where we have our other slight risk. So, yeah, now let's go ahead and go up to 21Z. We can see not a lot of moisture. Moisture could be a little bit of a problem in this northern slight risk, but it does look like large hail is going to be a big threat. Let's take a sounding right here. And I mean, not much of it. You're not going to have a tornado threat with this, but definitely large hail. These lapse rates are very steep. So yeah, definitely a large hail threat. Let's take one in northeastern Colorado. And once again, really just large hail, not really much of a tornado threat. So yeah, we got a 23Z. We can see we have some storms right on our slight risk. Take another sounding, and that's contaminated. Let me get a new one. Gonna take one in southwestern Nebraska. Tornado threat, you don't have a tornado threat with this at all, but mainly just a large hail threat. We can go northeastern Colorado now, and that's contaminated. Let me get a new one. Let's do one further to the east. We can see shear's a little better, still not impressive though. But it does look like the main threat is going to be large hail in this region right here, in our other slight risk. And yeah, so now let's go ahead and go down to the south central U.S. and talk about the southern slight risk. This is 23Z. HRRR doesn't indicate a whole lot of activity. Really, some storms going off along the dry line and in front of it. Nothing really that looks too impressive. But let's take a few soundings. This is capped, really capped, and overall this is not really a great sounding. Let's take one further to the west. And yeah, this once again is capped. We have marginal instability, and shear is just really bad. So likely to stay large hail threat with this. Which I think it's going to be the main threat across across really this area. I think that's going to be the main threat is large hail. I think we're going to see some gusty winds, damaging winds maybe. But the tornado threat is questionable. The tornado threat doesn't look to be really too significant. This is 7 p.m. We have some convection in this area. It doesn't look too significant. Let's take a sounding in western Oklahoma. And yeah, you're not going to have a tornado threat with that. That's terrible. HRRR indicates a strong storm right to the or close to Fort Worth. Let me take a sounding with that. Now that would have likely a very small tornado threat. The tornado threat is a little better though. I mean, it would be possible to get a tornado with these shear profiles. It's not going to be anything significant though. But it could be maybe photogenic if it does occur. We have a lot of instability, only slightly capped. Overall, the sounding would mainly be a large hail, damaging wind sounding, but a little bit better for tornadoes. Let's take one in northern Oklahoma at 7 p.m. and really just hail. That's kind of terrible, to be honest. Let's skip ahead to later. This is 10 p.m. now. HRRR indicates some convection in southern Texas. That looks to be a. I do think we're going to have a chance of seeing some really significant sized hail in this area, right to the east of the Toronto lines. Take a sounding with this cell. And that is contaminated, so let me get a new one. That was actually, that was weird. Okay, let's get this one. I want to go back to that one, though. Or maybe get one that's not contaminated, because that was the only issue with that. Alright, here we go. Now, that area in southern Texas does... The tornado threat down there is decent. So there's a lot of stuff to talk about with this sounding. First of all, let's start off with instability. We have plenty of instability with this, really. Instability is not a problem. This is barely even cap 2, which is really good. Shear profiles. Or first of all, this is not an elevated sounding, so that's going to be good. And look at these shear profiles, especially the low levels. These shear profiles aren't bad, and his Hodo isn't bad either. This is actually decent shear profiles, so I'm thinking that we could see maybe across this area of Texas has maybe a potentially greater chance of some tornadoes later, and they're going to be really photogenic, most likely. Or not really photogenic, but they're not going to be... It doesn't look like we're going to have a bunch of HP supercells in this area. Looks like we could have... It looks like the tornadoes could be fairly photogenic, and we're going to have a lot of large hail potentially in this area. It's kind of hit or miss, but if you get... For example, the HRRR only shows one storm here, but if that hail core goes right over you, you could get some significant hail. The tornado threat isn't bad, though. The tornado threat would exist with that. That's actually the best. In a way, I think that might actually be where the best tornado threat is for today. Now, the only problem with that is this is 10 p.m., so if you want to get or catch a nice-looking tornado, you're going to have to... It'll have to happen earlier in the day. Well, not really earlier in the day, but before dark, because this is after dark, so keep that in mind. But the tornadic environment down there is not bad. I wouldn't be surprised if we do see a tornado down there. So, yeah, now, with this sounding up to the north, that's contaminated. Let me get a new one. This is right around Wichita Falls. And I can't get one that's not contaminated. Let me try again. Alright, here we go. So, shear profiles with this aren't bad. This is a little bit of an elevated sounding. Not too elevated, though. Shear profiles are not bad, like I said. Not really great, but you could see a tornado out of this. It's not going to be anything impressive, but something could happen with that. And up further to the north, yeah, the shear profiles aren't going to really support a whole lot. So this cell or this area right here is kind of why the SPC is that 5%. And we have another 5% up right around the Wichita Falls area, which is where I do agree with the SPC on both of those 5%. Looks like we're going to have two areas with the greatest tornadic activity. But even if you live in the 2% area is has a chance of seeing some tornadoes. I don't think this area up here is going to see... The tornado environment up there is not great, but if anything happens, it's not going to be very HP. It's going to be really... Some storms might be LP, so that'll be kind of good. So anything that does happen won't be really rain wraps, so... yeah, it looks like large hail will be the main threat today in both of these areas. And yeah, so that's the tornado threat for today. Now, I want to talk about Wednesday, because Wednesday is looking decent. This is the convective outlook for Wednesday. We already have looked at this, but we have a slight risk in practically the same area. Just for maybe slightly further to the east. And go to the HRRR. Let's go out to tomorrow afternoon, 19Z. Very active pattern across Oklahoma. A lot of convection across Oklahoma, northern Texas. It doesn't look too organized. Let's try and get some soundings here. This is what I'm thinking for Wednesday. The overall environment for tornadoes might be better over a greater area. So today, the tornado environment's kind of small, or it's decent over smaller areas, but Wednesday looks to be over a bigger area. Uh, but this sounding, I don't, this is decent. Shear profiles aren't great, but that would be supportive of a tornado risk. The ARRR indicates some storms, maybe it looks to be right along the dry line over here, and uh, the Panhandle. So, with those, likely just very large hail. That would be the main threat. And take a sounding up in Missouri. And also, after we're done looking at the southern part of this, we're going to go switch to the northern part of the risk for really the Northeast and the Midwest. So with this sounding here, a little bit of a tornado threat, not really impressive though. But I do think we're going to see a tornado threat continuing into Wednesday. And it looks like we're also going to see more widespread convection winds. If you can see, this is Wednesday at 22Z. This is mid-afternoon. I have a lot of storms down here, and that cell that the ARRR has would be producing some significant sized hail. Let's take a sounding with it. Yeah, lapse rate's very steep, plenty of instability, even a tornado risk with that. I'd say Tuesday and Wednesday, this area right here has the chance of seeing really a similar tornado risk to both days, today and Wednesday. And then up to the north, we have a lot of storms. Let's take a sounding in southwestern Oklahoma. That is contaminated, so let me get a new one. But overall, the tornado environment's not impressive, but it is there. Maybe like a 2% with that sounding. Let's get one in northern Arkansas now. Tornado environments, shear profiles. Winds aren't really veering a whole lot, but that would maybe support a 2% risk. Now I want to switch up to I want to go up to the Midwest and that area. Then we'll go to the Northeast, because the Northeast we could see another severe weather risk on Wednesday. We can see with this sounding mainly just a damaging wind threat and hail. That's about it though. Small hail also. Let's take one up in Ohio, because the ARRR indicates a lot of storms in that area. So let's go. This is right around the Ohio West Virginia border. Yeah, this HOTA doesn't look great. I don't think you're gonna have much of a tornado threat with this at all, but definitely hail and damaging wind and a damaging wind threat. Let's skip ahead to forecast hours. Let's go to this is 8 p.m. now, and this is going to be contaminated, but actually not too much. Instability is marginal. Shear profile is not the best. 2% tornado risk for sure. Let's take one in eastern Illinois where we have maybe some more convection. Not a tornado risk at all with those. And let's also get one in Oklahoma. So shear profiles with this, the shear profiles aren't bad. We have a decent looking HOTA. That looks kind of bad. But 2% tornado risk once again. I'm thinking that for Wednesday, we're going to see 5% across this area. And that's really it. The SPC right now, they have 2 5% for Wednesday. They really don't. They're really similar to Tuesdays. I think the southern 5% has the best potential. The northern one doesn't look the best for Wednesday, but you could see something. The environment up here is not that great though. Let's try and get some soundings. It's not even in the 5%. But I'm gonna take a sounding with these cells in western Oklahoma. And yeah, that's terrible for tornadoes, but mainly just a hail threat with those. Now, last thing we're gonna talk about for Wednesday is the tornado threat, or not really the tornado threat, but the northeast severe weather threat on Wednesday afternoon. So this is Wednesday at 20Z. This is mid-afternoon. The ARRR indicates a strong cell in central New York. Let's try and get a sounding with this. Really just a large hail threat, not really tornadoes. Large hail and also damaging winds. That's about it though. I'm not thinking tornadoes. You're going to have really much of a tornado threat with that. Take a sounding right here. That's contaminated. Let me get a new one. I'll try and take one maybe right here. This might be... Alright, the environment back here is a little bit better. We have more moisture. Marginal severe sounding. Lapse rates aren't very good, and likely just a damaging wind threat and some small hail. But overall, Wednesday does look to be mainly a marginal risk event for the Northeast. Could eventually go slight, maybe for that area, but it's not looking likely. It is possible, though. These soundings aren't very good, though. Likely just a marginal severe weather risk. But I wouldn't be surprised if it goes slight. It would go slight in really likely this area right there. For damaging wind, maybe hail also. So, that is Wednesday now. We're not going to really talk about Thursday. Thursday doesn't look too impressive. Just a marginal risk across southwestern PA that goes into northern Kentucky. And we have no day 4 through 8 outlooks, but I want to look ahead, and we're going to talk about next week here. So, or not really next week, but maybe mainly this weekend into next week. So, this is the GFS. Let's go to the latest around the 060 because the 12Z isn't fully out yet. And this is Wednesday afternoon. Nothing, we can see our storms in Texas up into Illinois, along with that cold front, but not really a severe weather outbreak. Friday afternoon, we're gonna have our low move for the Northeast. Our cold front's gonna swing through the east, bringing some below average temperatures to this area. The cold air doesn't look as impressive as it did yesterday. We go to actually, let me get this is Saturday morning. It kind of stalls across the southeast, so that's gonna really make it so not a whole lot of cold air can make it into this area. But we are gonna have below average temperatures from Illinois down into Texas, and for much of the east and central U.S., other than the southeast and New England. But then much of the west is above average. So you have a pretty big pattern change. And yeah, so temperatures aren't really on the cold side at all Saturday morning. Really just some below freezing temperatures, maybe as far south as West Virginia, of course in the higher elevations, maybe even areas in northern Kentucky. And some 40s in the deep south, but nothing too significant. This is May 1st though, so it is pretty chilly for May 1st now. We go to, I want to go to Sunday afternoon, or Saturday afternoon. You can see we actually have a deepening low off the coast of Florida, the East Coast. We have a low in Colorado with gusty winds across Texas, up through Kansas City and the Chicago. Little disturbance across the upper Midwest, so maybe some showers in areas of UP and Michigan and northern Michigan. Northwest will also be pretty unsettled with some mountain snowfall. Nothing great for severe weather. We go to Sunday afternoon. We have a deepening low once again to the pretty much on the East Coast, and unsettled pattern stays for much of the north. But we do have a low coming into the Oklahoma, Texas panhandle, kind of that area, and gusty winds once again through Oklahoma City up through Tulsa and into kind of the St. Louis area. Sunday afternoon. The GFS doesn't really indicate much of a severe weather threat of this, but it does indicate some storms up in maybe northern Illinois. Let's take a sounding. Those are going to be really not severe. Take one in Iowa. Maybe a marginal risk event for maybe a marginal risk event for this area. That doesn't look good. Maybe just this area. Take a sounding in Kansas. Yeah, it's terrible. I'm not thinking Mondays or it's a Sunday. Sorry, I'm not thinking Sunday's going to do too much. Maybe a marginal risk for like this area. That's about it though. I don't think we're going to see much of a severe weather threat. Monday, we don't see too much. Maybe some storms in Colorado. Take some soundings with those. Yeah, those really aren't going to do too much. Those will be very elevated too. And we do have a low across the Great Lakes. Maybe a severe weather threat the cold front. Let's take some soundings. Yeah, that actually doesn't look bad. Let's take a look at surface-based CAPE. And we have a lot of it across this area Monday afternoon. So I'm actually not gonna do this. So this area has the best cape Monday afternoon. And then we scroll down and let's take a look at capping. So that's the area I had outlined. With capping, much of this area is not capped. And overall, I think we could see another severe weather event starting up Monday, May 3rd. Maybe across areas of the Midwest, down into the Ohio Valley. I think it's going to look different to that for sure, but I think we could see some kind of severe weather event in this area on Monday. This is 6 days out, so pretty far out, but it does look like that could start our next severe weather event potentially. It doesn't look too significant at this time, but maybe something. Pretty zonal pattern also. And that doesn't really change. This is Tuesday, not really anything interesting. Thursday. Now, this pattern, as we get into next week, the first week of May, it looks mainly favorable for severe weather across the Ohio Valley and areas of the Midwest. That's really it, though. Maybe into the Mid-Atlantic Northeast area. But it doesn't look too significant across the plains. But we'll have to see, though, because it says pretty far out. But it looks mainly to be a... It looks like we might have several Ohio Valley events. Not really. They don't look significant at this time, but I think we could see rounds of some severe weather and a lot of rain across the Ohio Valley, maybe down into or up into the Midwest. But yeah, that's all for this video. Hope you guys enjoyed it. I will be back tomorrow. BS. Goodbye.